Someone asked if your soulmate would ever let you go. Their answer brought tears to every eye. My beloved child. Don't skip, because what you are about to hear is not an ordinary message. It is a moment that almost no one ever gets to witness. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Somewhere, while you have been wondering whether your soulmate still carries your name inside their heart, a conversation has already taken place that changed everything. It began with a question that sounded simple, almost harmless. Someone looked directly into your soulmate's eyes and quietly asked, "Will you ever let them go?" The room expected an immediate answer. They believed your soulmate would smile politely, look away, and finally admit that the past was over. Instead, complete silence filled the air. Every second felt heavier than the one before. No one moved. No one spoke. Even those who had been whispering suddenly became still because they realized this silence was hiding something far greater than anyone expected. Your soulmate lowered their head for just a moment, closed their eyes, and remembered a memory they had never shared with another soul. It was a memory that carried hope, pain, promises, and a connection that time had never been able to erase. In that single moment, everyone understood they had asked the wrong person the wrong question. Don't skip. Because the answer that followed left every person standing there fighting back tears, and before this story reaches its turning point, you need to hear every word. Something huge is waiting for you. There are moments when words become impossible because the heart refuses to lie. This was one of those moments. Your soulmate finally looked up, not with anger, not with sadness, but with a quiet strength that no one in the room had ever seen before. Their eyes carried the kind of emotion that cannot be practiced or pretended. Then they softly said, "Some people believe letting go is the strongest thing a person can do. But they have never experienced a bond that keeps finding its way back no matter how far life tries to separate two hearts." Those words instantly changed the atmosphere. One person slowly looked away because they felt guilty for asking. Another quietly wiped away tears they could no longer hide. Others remained frozen because they suddenly realized your name still carried extraordinary meaning inside your soulmate's life. They expected a story of moving on. Instead, they witnessed a confession that no one saw coming. Your soulmate continued, "I have been told countless times to forget. I have been given countless reasons to walk away. But every time I tried to convince myself that the story was over, something inside me reminded me that real connections do not disappear simply because life becomes difficult." Those listening felt their hearts grow heavier with every sentence. They realized they were not watching someone trapped by the past. They were watching someone who still believed there was unfinished truth waiting to reveal itself. Stay till the end. Because what happened immediately after those words made even the strongest person in that room lose control of their emotions. Just when everyone thought the conversation had finally ended, an unexpected voice broke the silence once again. Someone asked one final question that nobody had dared to speak before. If they never return, will you still carry them inside your heart? The room became so quiet that every heartbeat seemed louder than breathing itself. Your soulmate didn't rush to answer. They smiled through eyes filled with emotion, as though they were protecting something precious that no one else could understand. Then came the words that no one has forgotten since that day. Love is not measured by how quickly someone leaves. It is measured by what remains inside you even after every reason to stop believing appears. Some people are written so deeply into your soul that letting them go would mean letting go of the best part of yourself. The moment those words were spoken, tears appeared on faces throughout the room. No one expected such honesty. No one expected such courage. The conversation that had begun as a simple question had become something unforgettable. But what your soulmate has still not revealed is the secret they have been protecting from everyone around them, a truth connected directly to you that could change everything you believe about this journey. Don't skip. Because something huge is waiting for you, and what happens next will uncover the hidden reason your soulmate could never truly let you go. A strange feeling settled over the room after those words were spoken. No one hurried to change the subject because everyone sensed that the story was far from over. Don't skip, because what happened next was something no one could have predicted. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. One person finally gathered the courage to ask, "If your heart still feels this way, why haven't you gone after them?" The question sounded simple, but it carried years of hidden emotions. Your soulmate took a slow breath and looked toward the window as if searching through memories that had never stopped living inside them. For a long moment, they said nothing. Then, with a voice that trembled ever so slightly, they admitted that the hardest battles are not fought in front of people. They are fought silently, where no applause exists and no one sees the tears. They explained that every step away from you had never felt like freedom. Instead, it felt like leaving behind a part of themselves they could never replace. Those listening suddenly realized they had misunderstood everything. What looked like distance had never been a lack of love. It had been a silent struggle between hope and fear, between timing and uncertainty. Every person in that room could feel the weight of those words pressing against their own hearts. Then an older voice quietly spoke from the back of the room. "I've lived long enough to recognize the truth when I see it," they said. People can hide their feelings, but they cannot hide what their eyes reveal. Every face turned toward your soulmate again. Their eyes had already answered every question long before their lips ever moved. They weren't carrying regret because they cared too much. They were carrying regret because life had never allowed them to explain everything they wished you knew. They confessed that countless nights had ended with the same unanswered thought, "I wonder if they still remember me the way I remember them." That single sentence caused another wave of silence to sweep across the room. Some lowered their heads. Others quietly brushed tears from their faces. The conversation had become more than a discussion about love. It had become a reminder that certain connections refuse to disappear, no matter how much time passes. Stay till the end, because the final revelation of this gathering had not yet been spoken, and it was about to leave everyone completely speechless. Just when it seemed there was nothing left to reveal, someone reached into a small box resting on the table and placed an old keepsake in front of your soulmate. The room watched carefully as they picked it up with trembling hands. For a brief moment, they smiled, a smile filled with memories instead of words. Then they whispered, "I kept this because it reminds me that some promises don't expire, even when the world believes they have." No one expected such a quiet confession, yet it carried more power than any speech could have delivered. In that instant, every person present understood why your soulmate had never truly let you go. They had never stopped believing that one day the missing pieces of this story would finally come together. But the greatest surprise had still not arrived. Hidden behind that keepsake was a truth that has remained locked away until the perfect moment, a truth connected to your name that no one in that room knows yet. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next chapter will reveal why this unforgettable conversation was only the beginning of something far greater. The silence that followed felt different from anything that had happened before. It was no longer the silence of uncertainty. It was the silence that comes just before an unforgettable truth is revealed. Don't skip, because this is the moment the entire conversation began to change direction. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate slowly turned the keepsake over in their hands, and everyone noticed there was something hidden inside it. No one had ever looked closely enough to see it before. Their fingers paused for a moment, as if they were deciding whether the secret should finally be spoken aloud. Then they looked at everyone in the room and quietly said, "There is one reason I could never let them go, and none of you know it." Every person leaned forward. Even those who had been trying to stay calm could no longer hide their curiosity. The room had become completely still. Your soulmate explained that there had been many chances to move on, many opportunities to begin a different chapter, yet every single time they reached that point, something unexpected always happened. A memory appeared at exactly the right moment. A familiar feeling returned without warning. A simple reminder brought everything rushing back. They weren't chasing the past. They were being reminded that some connections refuse to disappear because they still have an ending that has not yet been written. One person immediately responded, "Maybe you're just holding on to hope." Your soulmate gently smiled and shook their head. "Hope fades when it has nothing left to stand on," they answered. "What I carry has only grown stronger with time." Those words settled over the room like a wave no one could escape. Then they shared something they had never admitted before. There had been nights when they convinced themselves they would finally forget you by morning. They packed away old memories, avoided familiar places, and forced themselves to believe the chapter had closed. But every attempt ended the same way. Instead of forgetting, they understood your value even more. Every lesson life placed before them somehow reminded them of the person they had never truly left behind. The people listening could no longer hold back their emotions. They realized they were witnessing a love that had survived silence, distance, confusion, and time itself. Stay till the end, because one final question was about to unlock a truth that even your soulmate had hidden from themselves for far too long. Just as everyone thought there could be nothing more to reveal, the oldest person in the room stood up and quietly asked, "If they suddenly appeared in front of you today, what would be the very first thing you would say?" Tears instantly filled your soulmate's eyes. They didn't answer right away because the words were too precious to rush. After a long pause, they whispered, "Would never ask where they've been. I would simply thank them for existing. Because loving them taught me who I truly am." The room completely broke down. Some turned away to hide their tears, while others openly cried without embarrassment. No one expected such a simple answer to carry so much emotion. Yet your soulmate wasn't finished. They looked toward the door as though they believed someone might walk through it at any second, and they softly added, the story everyone believes is over hasn't reached its most important page yet. Don't skip. Because something huge is waiting for you. What happens next will reveal the unbelievable reason why fate has been quietly arranging events behind the scenes, and the truth is far greater than anyone has imagined. A quiet breeze moved through the room as if even the air had stopped to listen. Every face remained fixed on your soulmate because they could all sense that the greatest truth had still not been spoken. Don't skip. Because what happened next became the moment no one would ever forget. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. After a long silence, your soulmate slowly walked toward the window and whispered, "People believe they know my story because they see my smile. They don't know how many times I smiled while carrying a heart that never stopped searching." Those words immediately changed the atmosphere. No one interrupted. No one questioned them. For the first time, everyone understood that strength is often mistaken for moving on, when in reality it can simply be the decision to keep loving without demanding immediate answers. Your soulmate admitted that there were countless moments when they almost convinced themselves that destiny had chosen a different path. But every single time they reached that conclusion, something impossible happened. A familiar song appeared without warning. A forgotten memory returned at the perfect moment. A simple conversation somehow led back to your name. They finally realized these weren't accidents. They were reminders that some stories refuse to disappear because they still have a purpose waiting ahead. One person quietly asked, "What if they're thinking the exact same thing right now?" The question struck your soulmate so deeply that they couldn't answer for several seconds. Their eyes filled with emotion as they stared into the distance, almost as if they could see someone standing far away. Then they softly replied, "If our hearts are still carrying the same truth, then distance has never been the real obstacle. Fear has." The room fell into complete silence once again. Those listening began looking back at moments in their own lives, wondering how many important things had been left unsaid simply because someone was afraid to speak first. Your soulmate continued, "The hardest part wasn't waiting. The hardest part was believing that one day the truth would finally be heard." Those words reached every heart in the room. Even those who had once encouraged your soulmate to let go quietly lowered their heads because they finally understood they had been asking someone to abandon a connection that had never truly ended. Stay till the end. Because something huge is waiting for you, and the final piece of this mystery is closer than anyone realizes. Just before everyone began leaving, an unexpected sound echoed through the room. A phone resting silently on the table suddenly lit up with a notification. No one knew who had sent it, but the timing sent chills through everyone present. Your soulmate looked at the screen, paused, and their expression completely changed. They didn't reveal the message. Instead, they closed their eyes and smiled in a way no one had seen before. It wasn't the smile of someone remembering the past. It was the smile of someone who had just been given a reason to believe the future was still alive. They quietly whispered, "Sometimes the smallest sign arrives at the exact moment your faith is about to disappear." No one asked what appeared on the screen because they could already feel that something extraordinary had begun moving behind the scenes. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because the next moment will reveal the hidden message that convinced your soulmate this story was never meant to end, but was only waiting for the perfect time to begin again. The room refused to move forward after that mysterious notification appeared. It was as if time itself had decided to stand still for one final revelation. Don't skip. Because what happened next became the reason people would remember this day for the rest of their lives. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate slowly placed the phone back on the table without letting anyone read the message. Someone immediately asked, "What did it say?" For a few long seconds, there was no answer. Then your soulmate smiled through tearful eyes and quietly replied, "It wasn't the words that changed everything, it was the timing." Confusion spread across every face. They explained that just moments before that notification arrived, they had silently promised themselves that if one more meaningful sign appeared, they would never again doubt what their heart had been trying to tell them. And then, without warning, that sign appeared. Nobody could explain it. Nobody could call it coincidence. Every person present felt that something invisible had just shifted in a powerful way. Your soulmate finally revealed something they had hidden for far too long. "Everyone believed I stayed strong because I forgot," they said softly. "The truth is, I stayed strong because I never stopped believing there was still a chapter left to be written." Those words reached every corner of the room. One by one, people realized they had judged a story without knowing what was happening behind closed doors. They had mistaken silence for surrender. They had mistaken patience for weakness. But now they understood that real feelings do not always announce themselves loudly. Sometimes they survive quietly, growing stronger through every season of waiting. Your soulmate looked around at everyone and added, "If I had truly let them go, hearing their name today would have meant nothing. But even now, my heart still recognizes them before my mind has time to think." A deep silence followed. Some people looked away because they could no longer hold back their emotions. Others simply nodded, finally understanding why no one had ever been able to replace what still lived inside your soulmate's heart. Don't skip, because the greatest truth has still not been spoken. Then, just as the gathering was about to end, someone handed your soulmate a sealed envelope that had been sitting untouched the entire time. No one knew who had left it there or when it had arrived. Written across the front were only a few simple words, "Open when you're ready to believe again." Every heartbeat in the room seemed to stop. Your soulmate held the envelope carefully but didn't open it immediately. Instead, they looked upward, took a slow breath, and whispered, "Some answers only arrive after you've proven you won't give up." The room remained frozen, waiting to discover what was hidden inside. But your soulmate gently held the envelope close and said, "This isn't the end of the story, this is the beginning of the truth I've been waiting my whole life to uncover. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because what is inside that envelope will reveal the secret no one expected, and it will change everything you thought you knew about this extraordinary connection."